Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about a brand new studio album from Paradise Lost entitled Icon 30. This is the 17th full-length studio album from these English gothic metal death doom pioneers, and it is also a re-recorded version, an updated version of their fourth full-length studio album, Icon, released originally in September of 1993. I have, in the past, on occasion, here on the Metal Meltdown, joked about how certain bands, when they get to be like 30 or 35 or 40 years old, they suddenly get like really fucking nostalgic for their earliest, oldest material, almost as if they're having like a sonic midlife crisis, and now they kind of want to update all that material and bring it into the modern era, and now I feel it's not even really a joke, because like all the classic bands are getting old, and all of them are fucking doing this. And for the record, even though it's pretty blatant and obvious nostalgia bait and pandering, I don't really have an issue with this in theory. I've seen Testament, Suicidal Tendencies, Exhumed, and Sodom re-record some of their earliest material, and for the most part, I've enjoyed those projects and those endeavors. This year alone, in 2023, Max and Igor Cavalera joined forces and re-tackled some of Sepultura's oldest material, and I enjoyed that as well. One of my favorite bands, Voivod, for their 40th anniversary, took one song from every album they've ever done, and also re-recorded all of those songs for a special album, which came out back in July. I really liked that as well. There are other instances, though, where revisiting your earliest, oldest material was a horrible, awful, stupid idea, and I hate it. A classic example being Let There Be Blood from Exodus, a re-recorded version of their debut album, Bonded by Blood, which, I mean, wasn't fundamentally awful, I suppose, but it lacked that same, like, grit and heart and authenticity of the debut. It wasn't as raw, it wasn't as brutal, it wasn't as fun. Perhaps the best example, though, is the Clayman 2020 EP, in which In Flames decided, yes, we will actively shit on one of our last really great fucking records. So I'm not gonna lie, with this in mind, with the inconsistency of the success of this particular trend, I was a little nervous going into Icon 30. But I'm happy to report that this is not only a great album, but a great update of an already great album. The original Icon is an album that, in my opinion, has stood the test of time. It has aged really well, arguably not at all over the course of the past 30 years. It is an album that, in my opinion, did not require much of a facelift whatsoever. But now that it's gotten one, god damn! Icon 30 being as good as it is and being pretty much on the same level as Icon is a testament not only to how strong that original album is, but also to how strong this current iteration of Paradise Lost is. It is abundantly, inarguably, transparently clear that Paradise Lost went to great lengths and that they spared no expense in recreating Icon from start to finish. Every detail, every little moment, every riff, every hook, every beat, all those keyboards and all those atmospheric elements, enhanced but intact. Even the vocals, man, after 30 years, Nick Holmes sounding the same way on this album as he did on the original album. God fucking damn. Like, this man is 52 years old and he's still singing like he's in his early 20s. That's incredible. That's awesome. Ember Fire is still a fantastic opening number, simultaneously very moody and muscular. I like those thick, meaty, burly, doomy grooves. I like some of the more melancholic, kind of like low-range, almost spoken word vocals, like something I'd hear out of a Typo Negative record. I like those wailing, shredding guitars and those super confident, almost James Hetfield-esque cleans. Just an absolute banger, man. And same with the following track, Remembrance. I mean, this song still has so much spirit, so much energy. Colossal Rains is still chock full of satisfying, melancholic gloom and doom. Widow is still chock full of surprisingly hard-hitting, kind of like gothic, groove-laden heavy metal. I honestly kind of forgot how much I liked Christendom too. I mean, I just love how like mournful and heavy this fucking thing is. Like, you start off with some classic goth rock, goth metal chords and progressions, these very like ethereal vocals, very haunting, this very grisly bass tone. Some more like deep, low-end, muttering vocals, then transitioning into some more evocative, heartfelt doom metal. Now, I should note that there are some downsides to Icon 30 being as faithful to the original Icon as it is. The first of which being that if you don't like the original Icon, there is absolutely nothing on this album that will change your mind. Not even the updated production could do much to sway you. And the other downside is that Icon 30 ends up unintentionally feeling somewhat predictable. By comparison, the aforementioned Cavalera albums earlier this year brought so much extra dimension and nuance and aggression to those original Sepultura recordings. Nothing drastically brand new, but just enough extra dynamics and just enough extra layers and just enough extra energy to make it feel like a totally different fucking thing. Meanwhile, Icon 30, again, you place it back to back alongside Icon, and it essentially could pass as a remaster. I think there was an opportunity to transform this album into something a little bit different that would maybe reflect where Paradise Lost are right now, and Paradise Lost did not really take advantage of that opportunity. I don't mean to sound as if I suddenly don't like Icon 30, because that's not the case. I'm simply acknowledging that there was the chance to make something different but the same, and instead they opted for the same and the same. Lucky for us, though, the same is still great. The original Icon was a great album, and Icon 30 is a great album as well. Very strong 4 out of 5. Paradise Lost did everything they set out to do with this album. I find it hard to believe that unless you're really fucking nitpicking, or again, unless you really hate that original Icon record, that this somehow wouldn't do something for you. I'm curious to see how people who maybe don't know much about Paradise Lost or the original Icon album would respond to this. And I'm also curious to see how this impacts Paradise Lost in the future. They've already kind of made that transition back to like Death Doom on the last couple of records, so now going back to one of the most iconic albums, I'm curious to see how these influences will mesh on an inevitable follow-up album. Could more have been done? Yes, absolutely. I would argue that. I will argue that. But also, Icon 30, still a great album, a great update of an already great album. Definitely check it out if you get the chance. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown immediately in case you somehow are not already. Look, there's more videos here. Check us out on Discord and Redbubble. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.